Okay guys, today we're taking a different approach to a video. Obviously there are loads of people that make content in the gear scene. Gameplays, tips, ideas. I like to discuss things and sometimes some things pop into my head and I just post them. Not saying I'm right, not saying I'm wrong, but I try to make my channel a little bit different. Then at least I've got a bit of a niche, I suppose. And you guys seem to be enjoying it. So I'll do another. If the views stop, I guess I stop. So if you're enjoying it, do consider liking, do consider subscribing. In 2 years of videos, we have lost 70 subscribers. Gained, I think we gained one new member from the last video. So thank you to the new member. There's a membership option on the channel. And interestingly, right, today, people have been coming into my stream and they've been talking about a whole host of, like, you know, what would you do for Gears? What do you think about Gears Reloaded and stuff like that? And the video I actually watched today that has inspired this video is about Counter-Strike. I watched a video and it was called the best Counter-Strike match of all time. And in this basically video, he goes on to discuss FaZe versus Na'Vi. Probably thinking, why are you talking about this? FaZe versus Na'Vi has nothing to do with Gears. And I think it's because, to me, Counter-Strike is everything I wish Gears of War was. And I genuinely think it did have, probably not now, but at some point it had the potential to be like this kind of game. It's always stuck to its niche. It's never tried to do a Valorant, add spells into the game, add characters. It's always stuck to its own little niche and it's carved out its own audience. And I'm going to talk about a few things from Counter-Strike that I wish were in Gears of War. And also I want you to note that Cliffy B has said that if he ever got his hands on Gears of War, this is what he'd do. He'd basically kind of make it like Counter-Strike. And if you don't know, Counter-Strike inspired the original Gears of War. So that's why they probably resonate with me, because I can just see those similarities. Now, when people have come into my stream, they've said, like, what would you do with Gears? A lot of the ideas are like, you know, balance, blah, blah, blah. I don't think balance really matters, to be honest. I think by the time you've got to the point of understanding the balance of a video game, you've probably put a ton of time into it to understand it properly. And you either like the game or you don't. I think the most important thing is that initial what grabs you. And so if I was to look at the game, what I would be looking at is two things. Number one, I'll just throw it out there, would be like a Battlefront 3 kind of game where you are spawning in sort of enemies that you earn points for killing. Does that make sense? If you've never played the game, Battlefront is like a big open team-based game. Getting kills, you can spawn people in, spawn in a Yoda, spawn in a Darth Maul or whatever, right? And you can go ahead and they have different moves, different strengths, and you're trying to overwhelm. And I've always thought it would be really, really cool, and it would be super casual friendly to just have this mode where people are picking up kills, spawning in Brumac, spawning in Hammer of Dawn, spawning in artillery strikes, spawning in the Gears 2 Dizzy rig, you know, that's bombing people. I just think they have such a diverse, enjoyable lineup in that universe that there's so many options for so many fun things, and we don't do it. But that's a whole other video. For Counter-Strike, the most important thing that I've been thinking about is really the ability to make plays even at a high level. I think that's, to me, what makes the game so good and has kept the game going for so long. Because if you've watched any Gears UE, Reloaded, any Gears of War, you'll notice that the most fun you have is when you're playing on your own, against other people on their own. Why? Because more things seem possible. And that's what makes a video game fun and makes a video game replayable. More things seem impossible. When you get to a certain degree of level of gameplay, Certain things stop being possible in Gears. Maybe you're against a good team. Maybe you're against a good set of communicators. Maybe people are just using the weapons correctly. Certain things just get fully locked down and you're unable to do them. Prime example, you're looking at a hill. In Gears 1, you have no tools to really break a hill. So if the team are good and they're set up, it's really, really difficult to push. You don't really have a clue on what to do. You're just running in there, you're dying, you're running up a flight of stairs, you're running in a straight line. It's awkward. There's no smoke stun, there's no shot grenades, there's no flashbang, there's no destructibility. You're stuck. A good team really, really limits what you can do on most games, but in Gears of War it's particularly bad because there are so little options, and because the game is up close and personal, it means you're going to struggle in multiple 1v2, 1v3 situations. Counter-Strike has an incredibly fast time to kill, but to get that time to kill, you have to be very, very accurate. So it works. It's not like Call of Duty where you can tap somebody in the chest with 2 bullets across the map with a UMP stopping power and kill them. You're going to have to AK headshot and spray transfer, meaning you're controlling a pattern of recoil, and as you're in the middle of the pattern, you see a guy, you're going to have to transfer across, realizing where your bullet is, and still be accurate on the guy. It's spray transfer is incredibly difficult. You're not just trying to move and put your crosshair on another character whilst flicking. You're also trying to control the recoil patterns. And that means when you're in a 1v2, when you're in a 1v3, people can miss. It doesn't even matter how good they are, people can miss. And what's really fantastic about the game that is not in Gears is in a 1v2 or 1v3 situation, this is what's going to happen in Reloaded. People are smarter these days. You might have some fun playing solo queue, even though that doesn't exist, and the Coalition, unfortunately, are going to allow people to 4-man, 3-man stack ranked. My opinion, ranked should be 2-player maximum, but they won't do that. But that's not for me to debate. What's going to happen is, and I've seen it in scrims, I've seen it in clips, you're going to be in an area. Prime example of one that I've been watching. You're in this sniper location at War Machine, and you climb up. You're in a 1v3. You're pinned. You just get swarmed from all 3 angles. Now, that can happen in Counter-Strike, that can happen in all games, but it's particularly bad for the game Gears of War because you can't finish anybody quickly. You have to get up close and personal. You can't lance somebody in 1 to 2 bullets, so you have no outplay. In Counter-Strike, you can be against 3 professional players and they might not know where you are on the map. And you're sneaking around, checking angles. Sometimes you even get behind somebody and you don't kill them in 1 bullet because that will reveal. You then wait for them all to appear and then you wipe them all out. In Gears, you have no ability to sneak. There is spotting in the game now. There is also the ability to move the cameras in ranked. That wasn't a thing. People are in party chat. That wasn't a thing. So you're not going to be able to sneak up on anyone competent. It's a huge, huge problem. Now, I'm not saying make the Lancer a one-shot headshot. Obviously, I'm not saying that. You'd have to redesign the entire game at this point. But what keeps Counter-Strike so fresh is you're in a 1v2, a 2v4, a whatever it may be. There is potential for you to sneak and ding somebody in 1 bullet and create an opening, a play, a push, surprise somebody. It's not happening in Gears, certainly not in Reloaded. You're going to be in a 1v3 situation, you're going to be lanced, put red, the other 2 people are going to keep their distance and down you. As long as if you keep your distance, somebody will never clutch it unless they have like a sniper or a boomshot. Here's your top tip. If you're in a 1v2, 1v3 situation, literally never go up close to them. That's it. 3-man Lancer him down, pistol him down. they're just not going to do anything. There's just no possible way for them to do anything. And I've seen it in scrims since the game battles days. Nowadays, players are even smarter, so it's going to be even less common. So we've talked about sneaking up on people. We've talked about that there's a high time to kill in Gears of War unless you're up close. So sneaking around, making these plays isn't really possible, which means it's just very team orientated. Being shot by multiple people is really, really hard to deal with when you have no immediate way of one-shot killing them unless you're up close. And if you're up close, well, they've probably done something wrong. So being able to stack up, being able to play as a team is massively, massively advantageous. Normally in all games, but particularly Gears. Now, when it comes to other aspects of Counter-Strike that I absolutely love and also Cliffy B loves, is economy. One thing that's absolutely fantastic about Counter-Strike is you can't just keep spawning in with the same loadout. And as a result, that means guns can be entirely differently balanced. I want you to think about this situation. You're playing against a team that is stacking up on you. And imagine you can purchase guns. And because you can purchase guns, because you can spawn with different things, the entire game changes. You might think to yourself, well, I'm a solo player, but I do keep wiping out 2 of them. But I can't quite wipe out the 3rd and 4th. I can't do it on my own. If there was an economy, you would be bleeding them of economy because they would have to keep buying because you keep killing them more than they're killing you. And it might get to a point where you're looking at the loadout and you think, you know what? I'm going to pay to spawn with a sniper. And this sniper, because you have to pay for it, can have different balance. This is going to have an active down. This is going to have maybe the ability to collateral people. And the enemy team there might not have as good communication. They might not see that you've spawned with the sniper. They may not call it out correctly. They may misplay it. And you might pick a couple people off. Then all of a sudden you can win a 2v1 or a 2v2. But because there's no economy, every single game players spawn with the same power level. You can't get an advantage over the team. It's not possible. Imagine when you begin in a game of Gears of War, there's 3 people allowed a shotgun, 2 people have to Lancer. People are going to argue. People are going to cry about it. Oh, I want to use the shotgun. I want to use the shotgun. Okay, well, support, get assists, get kills with the Lancer. The Lancer can be balanced entirely differently because it's the only thing you've got. It's very difficult to make a Lancer really powerful whilst you've also got a shotgun and a pistol and blah, 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 and you can pick up weapons. I think to make Gears to the next level, personally, I think it has to have the economy. It's obviously never, ever going to have that, by the way. TC don't have the foresight or desire to change the franchise that much. But in my humble opinion, that's where I'd be going with it. I'd like to see, you know what, I'm against a stacked team or I'm against a couple teams, but I'm winning all my ones. I'm winning my... Even if you're playing solo queue, I'm dominant. I'm the dominant solo player, and I keep killing people, so I get to keep spawning with a shotgun. They've been pushed down to Lancers. Oh, you know, finally they've killed me, they've wiped me out, but because I've been putting in good solid performances, I've been raking in the points with kills and execution, I'm going to spawn with Lancer shotgun, and I'm going to dominate this round, because I've got 2 guns, they've got 1. Oh, it's 8-8, but again... I'm not sure if we're going to win. I'm going to ask my team to save. Nobody buy, nobody buy. We're just going to try pick off a few kills here, try get anything. Maybe we win a boom shot on the map. Maybe we pick off a kill, but we're going to save. The next round, we're all going to buy. There's going to be a skill level here. There's going to be a skill level to understand an economy, when to buy, what to play. That is a whole nother ball game that Gears doesn't have. And I just think it would be magical because everybody's mentality would shift. All of a sudden, Lancering would become a decent thing to do because you spawn with a Lancer, you don't have a shotgun, and it has totally different balance because, yes, you have to spawn with it and actually be proficient and help the team with it. The shotgun, you could make the shotgun if you really want to go down that route, a little bit more consistent for blowing people up close because you have to purchase it. It needs to merit it. The snub pistol could become like a bit of a deagle, like a bolt-ock, high damage, but it can headshot. Maybe you make it a little bit more, useful to use than the Gears 1 bolt-ock. Maybe the Boomshot, it has that nice splash damage again. It used to have great splash damage back in the day. Now it's a bit... If it's not got an active and it's not at the feet, it's not that good. But all of a sudden, if you had to purchase a Boomshot and it's a big play, who knows? And so when I watch Counter-Strike, obviously I'm not saying turn Gears into Counter-Strike. I'm saying you could pinch elements or look at things. But the main takeaway here is I think what keeps people playing Counter-Strike is because even if you're outgunned and you're outnumbered in a team game or just solo queue, there are things that you can do. You can manage your economy better. You can sneak better. You can find picks better. You can, again, maybe buy when they don't buy. You can maybe buy when they buy. You can maybe eco when they buy and pick off a few people. There are things you can do. There are more skills to than simply, damn, I got 3 of them, but the last guy landed me out and there's nothing I can do. I'm outnumbered. I don't think you're going to see many clutches. And that's going to be boring. If you watch high-level play, if you play in high-level games, I don't think you're going to see many 2v1s, 1v3s. People are going to group up, team shot you down, and yeah, there's no sneak element, there's no surprise. And I think that's what keeps Counter-Strike having so many iconic moments. It's that moment of somebody's in the smoke, lurking, and 2 people pass them and the crowd are like, oh my god, he's not even shot them, and he's like, no, I'm going to wait for all 3 of them, then I'm going to line them up and spray them down. Again, Gears is a fantastic game with fantastic moments, but at the high level, when people get decent at the game, you're very, very limited, aren't you? I think you could agree. Put it in the comments below if you think I'm talking nonsense or you agree, but I think the better players you play against, the better quality game, the more and more you're limited. We've all felt it. You're on King of the Hill. You can't really move. You're pinned down. You're trying to take a 1v2. Some guy's shooting you from a distance. The other guy's keeping his distance with his shotgun. You go down. You're just getting team shot. It's a bit like Halo. You're getting team shot. There's not much you can do. But I really do think there's the sneak element. Even in Halo, the sneak element kind of exists. You might be able to assassinate somebody, BXB them, ninja them. You might be able to do something. Very, very limited in Gears for outplay potential. And as a result, then you've got to be really, really consistent. You've got to be a consistent player, because if you get outplayed and you end up in a 1v2, you're going to struggle. So yes, it does reward a consistent player, but you don't really gain an advantage. If I'm playing really, really well in King of the Hill or Execution, but unfortunately I'm taking out 2/3 of the team or something, just can't quite get the last guy, I'm not gaining anything. I'm gaining no power. And for killing the other team, I'm gaining no power. Especially if there's long spawns. It's not even like you're gaining map position for killing people, because the spawns are very long. You might be dead for 15 seconds. The whole game gets reset. So I just think I've been watching a lot of Counter-Strike, and I think for all of the really good teamwork and all of the really good elements that it still has that magic of, even though you're against 3 pro players, the guy might just 1v3 it. He might find himself in a corner and get a headshot immediately. He might flick somebody. He might do something. When I'm watching Gears nowadays, I'm thinking, all right, it's a 1v3 on Gridlock. Like, I want you to think about this. It's a 1v3. To end the video, let's say this. It's a 1v3 in ranked Gridlock. You're in the sniper tower. They've got Boomshot. Let's even take the Boomshot out of the equation. There's no Boomshot. Doesn't exist. You haven't got the sniper. Someone grabbed it. It's wherever. So you're in the tower with your Lancer and your shotgun. Grenades are on the floor, and there's 3 people at Boom. How do you clutch that? Do you run to a certain corner of the map? Nowadays, people like Nick Merckx, they'll ape you, meaning they'll push you with 3 people. There's nothing you can do. What do? You can't sneak. Somebody will know where you are. You're really stuck, aren't you? Your only hope is the other team are brain dead and you pick off a kill and then you run away and you pick off another kill. That's all that's happening. That did used to happen back in the day. Don't think it's going to happen now. So I just think, you know, when people ask me what about Gears, I think it's a really good game. I think you're going to have some fun, but I think you're probably also going to have some frustration because you're not going to have many of those magic moments, which is what we play. Whereas even on the highest level of Counter-Strike, on the highest level of even Call of Duty, a very, very quick time to kill does change things. Again, I'm not saying make the Lancer like a COD gun, but what I'm saying is there's got to be something. Could be anything. If you're in a, like, think about, it might sound stupid. To you, it might sound stupid right now if I say this, but I think what makes my discussion interesting, if you agree, is I do like to come up with ideas and solutions. They're not always good, but if I was sat around a desk with Gears devs and stuff, you can just come up with ideas. You can say, when it's a 1v3, your guy becomes enraged. Your rifle does double damage. You might say, that sounds so stupid. Why? Think about it. Why does it sound stupid? All of a sudden, you're picking people off. They're like, all right, careful, this guy's 1v3. He's enraged. You know, might have to stick together. Like, we're only thinking of these things as stupid, as cheesy, as dumb because we're not used to it. Because the Gears game never evolves. What about this? Boom, 1v3 situation happens. Your guy plates up. He gets 2 plates. All of a sudden he can tank a shot. Now all of a sudden you might push in for a 1v2. Why not? You know, there are things you could do to make the game more exciting. But players don't really want to adjust. They don't want to learn new things. And I think they just want to hop on, beat some noobs. And yeah. So I think Counter-Strike has a ton of magic in the game, and it's why it's been played for so long, and it's still going to be continued to play. Because no matter who you're against, no matter what map you're on, it doesn't matter about the map design, it doesn't matter about anything. The ability to catch someone off guard, kill them, and make a clutch makes the game exciting for player and viewer. I don't think Gears has that at the moment. Let me know your thoughts.